Another thing he did is he realized very early on that this business is all about relationships. Not just the relationships with the guests, but relationships with the people that you work with. So he took it upon himself. He's like, what, 18 years old now, right? He's taken it upon himself to get to know the chefs, the cooks, and the bussers. And when it was a little bit of slow time, of course he wouldn't do this when it was real busy, he would approach them and say, hey chef, what's your favorite dish to make on the menu? And he'd get to know what the chef really loved to make. And then he would ask questions like, okay, chef, what if we had a vegetarian that would come in and want a vegetarian meal? What's your favorite dish to cook? Now, what if we had a customer that had this in and they wanted a substitution? What substitution do you love to do or are you okay with? You know, so he got to know what the chefs and what the cooks liked and didn't like, so that when he would talk to the guests who had special requests, he would speak from experience with no surprises in the back of the house. And then the last thing he did was he avoided the common server syndrome. He never said the same greeting over and over and over and over again. An example we like to talk about is a guest who came into a restaurant where the chef or the waiter was selling a certain kind of clams. And he told a story about these clams are specially delivered because of the vendor that they had that's in town in the season. He's talking about these clams. And then for some reason, in the conversation of, he was talking about his cat. And he told a story about having to take his cat to the vet. He's okay now, but it was like, oh, I'm getting to know the waiter, he's going through challenges with his cat, and oh, I guess we're going to order the clams. I mean, it was kind of weird, but they felt a connection with the waiter. Well, this same couple came back like 2 months later and had the same waiter. And the waiter told them the same story. Not only about the clams, but about the cat. And it's like the guy blew it. And they even mentioned, hey, we heard that before, and the guy didn't get it because he was doing the common server syndrome. So that's what Devon avoids. He makes connections with his guests and says things different every time so he doesn't sound like he's a broken record.